G'day guys and welcome back. We are now concluding, hopefully, our look at the character sheets with part 2 of our how-to video series, where we are going to be showing you how to play Pathfinder 1st Edition. So, where we left off, we are now going to be going back to our awesome looking character sheet. So please, Mr. Editor, will you draw up our sheets? Still small. Okay, fine. At least I'm on the other side, so, you know, there's that. Thank you, I guess. Okay, so skills. Let's have a look at skills. Now, skills are literally everything you need to know about interacting with the game outside of combat. There are some things that you can use in combat, that is definitely true. But for the most part, if you want to do anything, and it's obviously a chance of success or failure, skills are how you go through it. So these skills, let's first break down how the table works. So from the left hand side, you can see these small square boxes. These are where we identify our class skills. Now anything that is tied to our class is listed as a class skill within the class entry. For example, fighters and warriors tend to be good at things like acrobatics and climb and swim and all those kind of things. Wizards will have knowledges and they'll have use magical devices and spellcraft. Simply because you are trained in that class, you are skilled in that class. If you take one rank, or your first rank in that class skill, you will gain an automatic +3 bonus to that skill. So those people in that position often feel like they are doing much better, and that is because, well, they frankly are, and they were trained to. So that is what those little boxes represent, what your class skills are. Next is the skill name. As you can see, many of them there, and we will go through them at a speed run to just tell you a little bit about each of those skills. To the right of that, we have our totals, so basically the full number that we add to our d20 rolls when determining that skill check. Now, next to that, you can see that there is a list of ability scores. Now, these ability scores are just the modifiers that are applied when we make that check, which is listed on the aisle just to the right of that under Ability Mod. So Acrobatics, for example, uses the Dexterity modifier, and that is what we add to that box there. Now, to the right of that, we have ranks. Now, every time we take a level of a class, we gain a certain amount of ranks from that class to spend in skill points. Normally, this is indicated by a number plus our intelligence added to the sheet. So, for example, in the case of a rogue will get 8 plus his intelligence added to the skills. Now, skills can only be applied up to the character's level. So a first level rogue, for example, can only have a maximum of 1 rank in any skill. Now, that doesn't mean the total has to be 1, just that he only has 1 rank to put it in. He can put as many skills in the rank, as many skill points in the ranks as he wants to, up to his limit. And of course, there is no additional cost. For those of you who played 3.5, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. Once you've allocated those skills, you then have your miscellaneous modifiers, which, as I mentioned, if you've put a rank in a class skill, you will gain a +3 bonus, but only once. You then calculate your total and apply it. Now, there are some races that give that bonuses. There are feats, there are abilities. Be sure to add them as well because they are very important. Now, when you want to make a skill check, you would say, I perform a bluff check because I wish to lie to this person. You roll a d20, you add your total bonus from your skills, and that is how you perform the check. So, without further ado, let us talk about the skills. So, this is going to be super fast, so don't stop me, okay? No interrupting. Acrobatics, your ability to basically tumble, flow, jump, leap through the air, and otherwise perform feats of great dexterity and nimbleness. Appraise, your ability to assess and determine the value of things. Bluff, your ability to lie. Climb, your ability to, basically climb up stuff. Craft, your ability to build. Now, bear in mind that there are 3 of these. The reason there are 3 of these is because there are many different schools of craft. Carpentry, blacksmithing, metallurgy, other things. Whatever the case may be, you are taking ranks in craft so that you can be creative and express yourself within this creative and expressive game. Diplomacy, your ability to convince people that you are right. Disable device. Now, disable device, bear in mind, is the first of these that have this tiny little star. I don't know if you can see it, but let's see if we can zoom in. All right, so tiny little star basically means that you must be trained in this in order to use it. If you are not trained in that skill, then you may not use it. All right, so disable device, the ability to disable locks, traps, and other devices. Disguise, your ability to, well, do makeup and cosplay. Escape artist, your ability to do Houdini things and escape from traps. Fly. Yeah, your ability to fly. Handle animal, your ability to convince an animal that you're actually okay, because who's your good boy? Who's your good boy? You're a good boy. Heal, your ability to repair your friends when you are not a cleric. Intimidate, your ability to scare people or be completely humiliated upon rolling a 1. Your knowledge checks, which of course will give you all the information you require despite how much your GM does not want to. Knowledge arcana, wizards, dragons, and all that kind of things, spells as well. Dungeoneering, things that go bump in the darkness. Engineering, which is of course the, well, mechanics and buildings and all that other stuff. Geography, your location, where are you going? History, what happened, when will it happen, who is that guy? Local, who is that guy? Seriously. And, of course, certain monsters and creatures, such as giants and goblins. Knowledge nature, your ability to understand the world around you, such as trees and flora and fauna that exist within the world. Nobility, knowing who you probably shouldn't chew with your mouth open with. And, of course, you know, being able to assess what kind of heraldry they might have and what kind of rings, you know, they might, you know, give to their kids. Knowledge the planes. Now, this is not aeronautics. You do not understand what a Boeing 474, you know, whatever plane terminology is. This is all about knowing the different planes of existence. The elemental planes, the divine planes, the other realms of existence, and the creatures that dwell within. And finally, knowledge religion, which is, of course, the, you know, prayers, the matters of the faith creatures, and all that, as well as creatures such as the undead. Linguistics, your ability to translate as well as forge and create, you know, different, well, languages, messages, and all that sort of stuff. Perception, your ability to perceive the world around you. This is good for searching traps, and it's probably one of the most useful skills that you will find. Perform, something I have taken very few ranks in. Profession, again, something I have taken very few ranks in. Ride, your ability to, well, hang on when a mount is riding around, as well as your ability to control them. Sense motive, your ability to look at someone and determine whether or not they are, you know, on the level or hiding something. Sleight of hand, quite literally your ability to perform simple magic tricks or pickpocket people. Spellcraft, your ability to literally identify the parameters surrounding spells being cast. Stealth, your ability to hide. Survival, your ability to not die in the wilderness because you forgot to pack snowshoes. If you're listening, you know who you are. Swim, your ability to swim. Use magical devices, the ability to trick magic into believing you can actually spellcast. I'm not even joking. That is quite literally what this does. No one points it out. Why? I have no idea. It is exactly what it is. Okay. Whew. Below that, conditional modifiers. Now, the conditional modifiers are, of course, anything that you would otherwise use to basically modify these. So, for example, it might say you will get a +2 intimidate check against Hell Knights in the middle of summer wearing bikini shorts. Whatever your conditional modifiers are, that is where it goes. Now, it hasn't been written here on the base sheet, but I'm also going to point out that there are also armor check penalties. So wearing armor can slow you down in certain ways. Basically, if you see something has a dexterity or a strength-based check, assume that the armor check penalty will be thrown on as well. And I will also point out that swim has double that armor check penalty when you are trying to swim in armor, because reasons. I don't know why they do it. It's just what's done. And the last thing on our first sheet, yeah, that's right, first sheet, is languages. What languages do you speak? All right. Whew! Second sheet. This one's the easy sheet. This sheet, have we swapped the sheet? Is that what's happened? Oh, sorry, I'm behind. My bad. Sorry. Continue. You're doing an awesome job. Okay, we have, going from top to bottom and left to right again, AC items. So this is, of course, where we put in our shield, our armor, and all of that. What type of bonus does it give? What type of armor are we wearing? What is that armor check penalty I just mentioned? Spell failure. Now, certain armors have a chance that if you are a spellcaster and trying to cast a spell, you will just simply fail. So if you are a wizard trying to wear full plate, well, technically you can, but don't expect to cast too many spells while wearing it. The weight of the armor, important if you are tracking your carrying capacity, and any properties your armor might have. So if it's got special abilities, special powers, always good to note. Next up on the left-hand side down there is your gear, so all the items that you are carrying, as well as how much they weigh. Very important again, as I'm mentioning, because if you look just below that, there is your total weight right there. So how much you are literally carrying. Now, a light load is relatively simple. There is no real penalty for it. But then when you get into medium and heavy load, that is when you start suffering and you start taking drastic penalties across the board, which we will go into at another time. The weight that we are able to lift something over our heads, the weight that we are able to lift something just off the ground, or the kind of thing that we can only kind of push or pull. Below that, we obviously have our money, which go in copper pieces, silver pieces, gold pieces, and platinum pieces. Basically, it's 10 for 10. So, 10 copper is 1 silver, 10 silver is 1 gold, 10 gold is 1 platinum. Easy economics. All right, looking to the right, we then go to our feats. Now, feats do not refer to class features. Very similar, because obviously feats is short for features, so a lot of people say class feats or, feats. But feats are generic features that you can acquire at every odd level. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. We acquire a feat which we can use to bolster our character. There are generic ones that literally anyone can take regardless of their class. There are some specific ones that only certain classes with certain abilities can take. All you need to know is that these abilities, which we will go into in greater detail in another video, are crucial to try and create a style for your character. So if you want to be a grapple specialist, you will have a lot of problems unless you follow a particular tree in order to gain better speciality at that grappling ability. All right, going down from there, we have our special abilities, which of course refers to all the abilities that you get given for your class. So as you level up in your class, you will gain powers and abilities, and this is where they go. Below that, we have our experience points and how many we need for the next level. Some people play with experience points, some people do not. It's good to know how experience points work because it's very simple. You gain points once you hit a level, once you hit a point, boom, you level up, you gain more powers. You do it again, bing, you level, you do it again. That's how it works. Okay, finally to the right of that, we look at our spells. Now, this is kind of the complicated bit. So if you, I really appreciate it if you guys could get through this with me because I am going to confuse the hell out of myself in a minute, and I hope that I don't with you. So, there are two types of spellcasters. Prepared spellcasters, who only will be using the spells per day section, and the spontaneous spellcasters, who will also use the spell known section. Now, the way that spellcasting basically works is you have a number of spells that you can cast per day. In the case of prepared spellcasters, such as wizards, they must choose those spells at the beginning of the day. So if they have, say, 3 level 1 spells for the day, they need to prepare, say, Mage Armor, they need to prepare Mage Armor, and they need to prepare Mage Armor. They can cast Mage Armor 3 times. However, this one goes, okay, let's get Magic Missile in. So I'll prepare Mage Armor, Magic Missile, Magic Missile. They can then cast 2 Magic Missiles, 1 Mage Armor in that day. That is how spells per day work for prepared casters. Spontaneous casters use spells known. Spells known are quite literally, you know just this spell. That is it. But you can cast this spell a number of times per day equal to your spells per day. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is that a spontaneous caster is less versatile but can cast more frequently, whereas a prepared spellcaster has a book of spells that they can cast from for a lot of versatility, but because they have to prepare them in advance, it can limit how effective they are in quick succession. Alright, so that is spells known, spells per day. Spell save DC refers to the difficulty of overcoming these spells. So if I were to cast a spell on another player, they would make a saving throw against this spell, and this would be what they would need to beat. The calculation is 10 plus the spell level plus the main casting stat. So a level 1 spell would be 10 plus 1 plus, let's say, a casting stat of 2 would be 13. That's pretty easy. Now, lastly, you can see on the right-hand side there is the bonus spells. Now, your bonus spells are tied to your ability scores, and again, we will make another video on that. But what you need to remember is that this is only for your spells per day. You only get bonus spells per day if your mental or if whatever casting stat you're using is above a certain point. Okay. Now, if you look below that, we have our domains and specialty schools. Now, in the event of playing a cleric or a wizard, we gain certain abilities and spells for free at particular levels, as well as powers and abilities. This is simply where that goes. Not important if you're not playing those, but it keeps track of them very easily and is quite useful. Okay. Whew. Okay, I've got like 5 minutes left to give you the kind of last few tricks. So here's a couple of tricks for maintaining your character sheet. Trick 1, always make sure you keep your sheets in clear contact and make sure your sheet is one-sided. So that is 2 separate pages. Reason being, 1, clear contact, you can use whiteboard marker and adjust it as many times as you want without damaging your sheet. Nothing is worse than constantly leveling up or constantly changing your things and wearing down the paper to the point where you have to rewrite a whole other sheet. And I know there's people out there who are saying, oh, then why don't you use a digital sheet? You shut your damn mouth. So yeah, clear contact, fantastic, wunderbar, works good. On the rear, you can use it to expand on the abilities and powers that you have. So if you look on the second sheet again, where it says special abilities, there's not really that much room to write stuff down. So I always use my very first page, and on the reverse of it, write down just very shorthand what those abilities are. Reason being is in the event, and I'm talking like in the very tragic event, that you happen to bring any sheet to the game, you only need that one sheet to function. You can technically go by without knowing exactly what your gear is, but you cannot not know what your special abilities are. Same thing being said about the second sheet. On the reverse of the second sheet, I always put down spells. So if I've got these spells prepared for per day, or these are my spells known per day, all of them go on the back with some basic information, just so that I can use them if I need to during the game. Alright, so that is pretty much my, my seminar, I guess, at this point on character sheets. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved sharing this with you. And like I said, while you've gotten a lot of information today, we will be hopefully trying to break it down into smaller chunks, and we'll be going into greater detail in individual videos to cover everything we discussed today. So, if you have any questions about character sheets, leave them in the comments below. If you thought this video was super helpful, or hell, even if you thought it wasn't helpful, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook, because we love meeting people on Facebook. We do games, we do puzzles, and all this other stuff. You know, we hang out. And if you want to hang out with me personally, actually, come to Discord, because that's also a really great place to hit me up and ask me some questions about gaming and role-playing. And if you want to support me and hopefully help me make awesome videos, please be one of our cheeky Patreons over on the Patreon website that we have linked. And as always, guys, thank you for listening. Until next time, keep your dice rolling and make sure your ideas stay mindworm free. Have a good one.